Okay then, let's get down to business. Alright. The resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, starting on the trial. Oh, no prologue. Oh, oh boy. Well, it's interesting that we're splitting this one case into two separate cases. So, my time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Mrs. Sato. Mrs. Sato? Mrs. Sato. Frick! Oh no, what was the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Nothing. I was just saying I'll be relying on your support today, but I'm sorry, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh dear, I'm really sorry. I kinda missed that, honestly. Susato-san isn't her usual self at all, but that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective, not to mention... good morning, sir. Lord Van Zeeks. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear you that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His fate says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Good point. Reaper, I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. You're not to blame for that, Lord Zeeks. It's only because serious crimes at the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. Wow. Oh boy. That having been slain by that evil killer, cleansed restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. When I lost him... I felt as though I lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so... in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured by some over-imaginative public. It was so obvious that it was extremely important to you. Poor Clint Van Zeeks. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes, that burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now, tell me, why did I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, hi, Iris. When did you get here? Oh, I brought some of my one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him clear his head. I thank you. Oh, that's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? Sort of subdued, I suppose. I am not! What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Sai's laboratory. Alright then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying? I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously, but I've got lots to get ready. Get ready? For what? Oh, yes. Would you take this? Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack? Yes. It's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once. A Hurley? It looks more like a Hairley to me. If for some reason you were completely run out of options in today's trial, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. What? Pull his ears? That's right, it's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. If you run out of options, tug on the ears. Think what we'll need is luck? I just need to peek inside the courtroom. And it seemed very different to normal. Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and hadn't come back home by the time I left this morning. He must have been busy. I see. Was Professor Mikitoba out all night too? Do you think, Mrs. Sato? Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently, they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all. They? The father and Judge Jigoku, I mean. Judge Jigoku's who? That's right, nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday. Judge, the defendant, court is about to be in session. Please bring your order into the courtroom at once. Good luck then, Bruno. Good luck, Susie. Yes, thanks, Iris. And you, Mr. Reaper, I hope it goes well. Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing. Oh, I'm so glad. Let's go inside now, Lord Van Zeeks. Oh boy, what's going on happened in that courtroom? Lord Van Zeeks has always been a formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court, but not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend Kazuma Asaki, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. I don't understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. I don't know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, this one final reckoning. Okay. Let's do this. What the? There's no judge. It feels even more oppressive in here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Mr. Nahata, look! I thought so! Lord Strongheart is gonna be the judge. I should have called it. Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal is on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of a man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative to uncover the truth of these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, male Strongheart, will exercise total and unequivocal authority. What? What? Wait. Is he? That's the Sixture of Flame. The Sixture of Flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Uh-oh. Wow! In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Barak von Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsel to the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday, oh my goodness, this music! Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice, Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification, and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work, when in fact, he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation, because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson while investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery of the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asaki. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. Ooh. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday, that the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st of November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to suggest the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new evidence report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard has put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Gina. Oh boy. State your name occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina, again? What's your problem, model? What's with that Gina again book, eh? Ah! The boss meant the world to me. He done more to me than anyone else ever did. Oh? Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Told me that life could have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here, speaking for him. Gina? Right, all out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes, no. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lord Strongheart knew. So, Inspector Lestrade, let us hear exactly what it says in that report. Coming right up, sir. Okay. Look how much he's grown since last game. Yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. A little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealing that day. It looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? Like, I don't know, do I just telling you what's written in the book? Tobacco, tea, spices, medicine, goods of all sorts flow to London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. Wouldn't opium also be included in those? But never you mind. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of this investigation being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he's operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. That can't be! We haven't heard anything about this! Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Varric von Zeeks, was present. That would be very significant testimony then. Oh my, but Lord von Zeeks has made no mention of this at all! In short, Lord von Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Very well then, counsel for the defense. Begin your cross-examination. Holy cow. Everything is oppressive as heck. All Yard detectives are supposed to follow orders, follow orders and investigate what they're told. Hold it! So, you follow orders, do you, Gina? What a charming little rabbity version of Mr. Sholmes. Do you suppose this is how Iris sees him? Are you alright, Mrs. Naruto? Your eyes are verbally boring into that poor doll's ears. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering, what do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might now? I'm sure we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you must learn stoic patience. Oh, I wanna know! I wanna know too! I really wanna know too! Holy cow, I really wanna know! Hooey! Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see? Oh. The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go give Toby a grub, that kind of thing. So errands more than orders then. This detective is still an apprentice after all. Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't gonna sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations of what happened. I didn't find much at first. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook and had loads of secret meetings in it. Hold it! She went through Inspector Gregson's things. Yup, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation. I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative. So I snuck into his office when no one else was around. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out onto the street. This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook. You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and a trusty Assistant Chief Inspector Toby. We found it in one of the desk drawers and had a false bottom. That's impressive. So then I went to hide myself where no one could find me, so I could have a butcher's at what was written in it. Cause if anyone at the yard found me out, they'd have turfed me straight out to the street. I've given it now. I've given it in now though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would never have been found. According to that, boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Hold it! Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place? Yep. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what's all the fuss about. It's right here. All I gotta do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can I show you what I can do? Come on. What's the arm? I haven't tickled his objection yet. I keep trying to find out. What should I do? This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it has not yet been established that he was on that particular trail in the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obtrusive. Right then, I get to show off my reading skills. Apparently the smuggled goods were going to happen in a gentleman's club called the Grouse. Hold it! The Grouse? The Grouse? The Grouse? What sort of club is that? I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing. But I am kinda curious. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently? I'll tell you what. Me, Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover. Could you, though? I could pick out a few good marks and see what I could find out while I was there. I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take, isn't it? Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the low-ranking detectives at the yard reckon. Says the even lower ranking detective. It looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. So how did Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? Well, I'm just an apprentice, so... And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, cause, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes! Anyway, the point is, something went out in the club, no question. You can't say that for certain, though, surely. What matters most is that there was witnesses who saw the Reaper at that place, too. Hold it! Lord Van Zeeks was at the club? He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? But he already discovered the Inspector's secret notebook. Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. presumably then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there. None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Oi, why aren't you asking this figure straight in, eh? So that's all I got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Zeeks told us he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? That's not the only way to explain this. Huh? If everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in his testimony somewhere. You mean there are details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. The Groose. Okay, well, one question I have is, what's a Groose? So, what's a Groose? Okay, it does sound like a bird. It is a bird. Heavily built like galliforms, such as chickens. You can eat a Groose fresh or freeze it. Quail, can a Groose fly? Capable of flying just after 5 days and can cover long distances. Okay, so they're basically little chickens. Or a similar family to like the chickens. Okay. That doesn't really help me, but hey. The smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Groose. Smuggled goods. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years here, aren't there? This paper from 10 years ago is running with age. Look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same redheaded league advertisement that Mr. Schulman picked out. Do you remember? There was a red hairpiece at the scene, too. Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the redheaded league then? No, he wasn't. Okay, indeterminate. Am I just an idiot? I'm an idiot, aren't I? Oops, wrong button.
Objection.
What? What? Wait, what? 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 Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. It says Groot. was a boat. Oh, that's why. Beats having to look up a walkthrough. I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Seemed like I'm not exactly a fan of having to just hang out with only men, though. I like women. I mean, what? So don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Groose? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean, the place Inspector Gregson was here going to visit on the 31st may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force, there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not to be the least bit... is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Groose.
Objection!
So there's a steamship called the Groose, that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say that there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st of November. The day on which to sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked in British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection!
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the quest, or the victim, was investigating the Groose on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. If it substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Groose on the 31st of October. This?
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order, order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Groose arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruto. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution strategy for this trial had been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. The day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asagi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order! Order! What are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was in fact acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination. Gregson? Baron von Zeeks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi, which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson. What the hell you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zeeks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Baron Von Zeeks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Bruce on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. There's something Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board that ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. He lost his life on the ship, you mean? Gregson did board the SS Bruce that night, with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grabbed a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade. Whoa! The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying. Even if all that blood is what got taken out at common, the boss was the Reaper. Oh, Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it. Then testify again as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I don't... I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Greggson's secret notebook. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was the 31st October. The gross for the birthplace on the date, and the name of the mark. There was a note of him being a criminal, got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. Well, honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Gina. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established facts here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, witness Naruhodo. What can I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark, and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade, read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the Groose on the 31st. Eh? How'd you read this then? Reading's still not our strong suit. That ain't the problem, alright, Otto. It's a funny name, it ain't English. It's Ada the Raid. Somebody from overseas? Let me have a bash at it. Euro. Is it? Yeah, Seishiro. Seishiro Jigoku. You maybe? What? What? It can't be Seishiro Jigoku. But that's Judge Jigoku. Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection!
But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and returned to the British shores in a body bag. Wouldn't tolerate the mistake. So he killed the inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused. Barak von Zeeks. It's an undeniable logical argument. No, it's not! Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Wait! Zeke! Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollow chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. What the heck? How did you even get that? Reverend Zeeks, where did you even get that? Where did you even get that chalice? The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide, but there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. Hey! What? Nah, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard, reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. If in your mind I'm sure I'm the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By intending to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say? Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance. My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to testimony just given by the witness. Oh boy. I now can see that gavel It's literally his cane, but like a knight. Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast to the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. The counsel for defense begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. Alrighty then. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff where the Reaper got up to these past years.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting against the Reaper. Not you and all. Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret. And that notebook said what he found out. If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. Yeah? But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way that one person could have taken them all on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head? I had spies in the yard, keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said Caruth. Believing to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. So that explains why several members of the club claimed to have seen me there. But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of the notebook. Fine. Is something wrong with Naruto? I mean, it's just not. You seem a little shocked by something a moment ago. Oh, no, it's alright. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? Maybe. Name the victim's dates and places and stuff, and my last entry was there on the 31st October. Names of the victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular? Well, besides the victim's dates, this other day kept cropping up. What name was that? It's one I told you yesterday. The name's written over and over again. You mean Asa Shin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or someone, isn't she? Were you even listening yesterday? Asa Shin. The assassin. What? Like, a killer, you mean? Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who got to use to get them at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying. If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Then perhaps what's said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel, but that additional person have been clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Seshiro Jiguku's life. Gina, can you confirm that against the final entry that listed Grusin and Seshiro Jigoku? What name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? It just had a question mark or something like that, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assailant in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not? How infuriating! A nameless assassin. It said Bruce for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. And you're saying that mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku? That's what I said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd. So pleased to have lost my crown there. My Instructor Shigoku is presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Shigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after that fateful case. Precisely. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery of why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in it has got even worse now. Maybe I'll keep talking. There was a notebook being a criminal got away. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Goku is no criminal. Well, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Goku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the Professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course. You're right. Seshiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away, and actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted at trial too, as it happens. You did? It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But it was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage he caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who fares the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Goku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd! To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But... Right, I get enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss is planning to kill people. It's cobblers. Come on, Otto. Yes? Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something? What? You gotta find a flaw. You usually do. Like, there's someone lying here, no question. You gotta work it out who it is. Please. For the boss. That outburst was an insult to the court and your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Oh, frick you. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? I added with a lot of you, the lies that never bleed in place. You look at the world in it, well, I've had enough. Oh, Gina. So have I, after that little speech of Gina's, I made up my mind. What, Mr. Nahato? There was one point in this cross-examination when something like that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd. Dude, do you mean... I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Come on, Odo, help. You gotta find a flaw somewhere.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. Let me find my resolve. Eh? What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? Inconsistency? Really, Arvo? I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... Ah... Huh? Huh? Huh?
Take that!
Of course, by you, Lord Van Zeeks. Me? What? Your face has turned ashen. How could he know? Is that what you're thinking? If my face has turned ashen, it's because I'm thinking, how could he? I don't know where you're going with this, but maybe the evidence you're obviously about to show the court will clarify. In that case, the defense will present evidence to substantiate its claim. To which piece of evidence does this alleged inconsistency relate? I don't know! I'm what? I have no idea what we're supposed to be looking at. I'm sorry that I keep coming back to this, but I honestly have no idea.
Take that!
Let's say the list, Lord Van Zeeks. Your feelings were correct. Presenting that evidence was a mistake. I suggest you withdraw it. Sorry? Good advice. Because you decided you turned ashen. Ah! I only hope the Reaper doesn't hold that against you. Fingers crossed. I think this line of argument has run its course. I suggest you learn from your mistakes before you make a fatal one in the eyes of the Reaper. I'd better listen carefully to the testimony again. So that's what we have to work with. It may help us that Lord Van Zeeks is in the stand too. Yes, perhaps. I'm sure Gina knows nothing about, like, she hasn't already told us, but did you notice how Kazuma-sama reacted to Lord Van Zeeks' words? When he called him the more sinister Reaper you do. Well, I'm sure Kazuma intends to eliminate any shred of doubt that the man is guilty. He's looking for revenge against the person he considers to be his father's killer, after all. I do worry that if we fail to find a discrepancy in his testimony somewhere, the trial may end and adjudication won't go in our favor. Let's listen carefully again to what everybody is saying. Okay.
Hold it!
Like, is the other, like is it strayed? Or, wait, what? Huh? What?
Take that!
What? By you, Kazuma Asuki. What? Okay, now I'm confused. Me? Is this some attempt at filibustering, Counsel? Prosecutor Asuki has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, Counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asuki has said? I have no idea! I have no idea what he even said! I honestly have no idea what he even said! I have no idea what he said!
Take that!
Oh, it's the case. This is the trunk that belongs to... Okay, so my guess was right. I just didn't have confidence. Metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain, and a relatively fresh one, too. What? You mean that ain't grease from the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it. Me, with me nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because of the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the north coast of France, as shown by the passport here in the victim's metal trunk. You knew about the trunk! Oh my gosh! How did I... Ugh! So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. And to be honest, Kazuma, on 31st October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Gross. Is that the answer you're looking for, Yunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it could only have been for one purpose. I know, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think... Come on, Ryunosuke, you know the rules. The only thing that really talks in this courtroom is hard evidence. Are we really going to, as I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proven nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it? Beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there? With Gregson? There's a clue that you overlooked. A secret that the trunk can't tell us. I can't be sure at this point, but I need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk his alleged clue is to be found. Have you seen this huge gash across the side from here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a metal shelf like this to have been badly damaged, whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened.
Got it!
This is your proof? What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asuki? Personally, I think trying the defense Applying the defense counsel to the Imperfectus trunk and tossing it into the sea would be more helpful. What? At least that way, London's courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations. I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you that you're wrong, Mr. Nahato. Very well, then let us see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty, Counsel. Ah! Mr. Nahato, you can't allow yourself to be drowned at sea yet. I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. Let's have a look inside.
Got it!
This is your proof? What? Seriously? The bloodstain? What? What? Okay. What am I missing? Okay, I already had. Okay. Okay. There are only like 3 things on this that you can look at. So, what's going on? What's going on? Why is this...
Got it!
Okay, what? Like, I've looked at everything there. What? Wait, I did the scratch! What? What? Let me check that again. Come on! How did I not notice? Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting. Looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it. Oh, don't cut yourself. We'd better leave it, I think. Are you kidding me? I'm an idiot! Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today is the esteemed blade Karama. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom? For all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch the prosecutor Asaki like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Oh no! The tip is broken. Asaki, Kazuma, what have you been doing? If the fragment of the metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asaki. What the heck? Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's the point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asagi? Yes. On 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So this additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the monk. What? What? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Igoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Igoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Bruce and made for the cabin deck as indicated in the plan. We went to Judge Igoku's cabin. Exactly. He wasn't there though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house in Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It will be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Ah, frick. I spilled some water. Let's see. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Excuse me. Well, thanks to the bot that... thanks bot that followed, but unfortunately you're banned now. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? That's what I want to know too. I don't need to answer that. A victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. I can't believe... Oh, man. We must take immediate action now, to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed. Karama, the Great Blade. It's such a thing of beauty, I want to gaze on it for hours. The tip of the great sword broken. It's such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Karma's sobs. Cosmo must have been really taking a swing for that to happen. Such a shame. Such a shame that piece. Ugh. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Goku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Ramses? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Where did you get another chalice? We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the Synopsium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst. Oh no, not Judgy Goku. No one wants to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except that is... for the Reaper, waiting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruto, for the defense's sake... my lord! I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Kikugo's healthy existence in the next 3 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. Cosmo-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare. I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Cosmo isn't in the habit of making up stories. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judgy Goku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. Actually, there may be one last hand we could play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course! The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us. If for some reason you feel completely run out of options in the trial today, then just hold this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ear? What happens if I say no? This is one of Iris' inventions. There's no telling what might happen. For all I know, it could cause a huge explosion! I'm not sure you should be thinking like that, Mr. Naruto. Compared to the trial ending immediately after this recess, a huge explosion might be preferable. I'm not sure you should be thinking like that, Mrs. Sato. But I suppose you're right. If there was ever a time for taking a risk, it's now. Here goes then. I'm going to do it. Good luck, Mr. Naruto. No looking back. Ow! Scream. Sound like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? Where are you? Here, my dear fellow. Here! It's the folk god talking! Pull your ears again, Mr. Naruto, as hard as you can. Alright then, I'll pull all my strength into it. Ow! Please, my dear fellas, don't need to pull my ear off! Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself and my trusty partner are presently on the first class cabin area of the SS Groose. The SS Groose? She left over last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk. but due to the underway, but due to be underway again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to stump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Nahodo, pray, what is my name? Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective. Recited to perfection. Well done. You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it. Ow, 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 ow! Miss Susato, gently with the genius's ears, please. Oh my, I'm ever so sorry. If I may, Sholmes. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Bruce. At Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined the notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow! And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions under my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now. And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say... Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful. Until later, then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. Ow, 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 ow. I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever the idea behind making the receiver operating in that way in the first place, Sholmes. Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris' invention, not mine! I hate to have my ears pulled off like that. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that hour before the Groose puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigation rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why are you loitering around here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize road-traveling sailor Chicken Stroganoff when you see? Great detective. Oh, I don't think so. Wait, Sholmes is tattooed into his arm? Do you see that, Mr. Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo? It says Sholmes. I must say, whilst such adoration is flattering, naturally it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave now! How distressing, my loyal devotee knows me only by my name and not by appearance. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he is a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know that? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard the ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. That is no one his name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. You mean Eastern man? He left two hours ago. He had a Dunkirk. He said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Station has realized that we're after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make some excuse to leave the area. Chicken stroganoff? Oh my god. Doesn't great detectives see that even sailors have ears both left and right? Well, Dang it. Curses! The plan is ruined! And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Tavern door is locked. Even if I'm not here, you cannot get inside. Mikitoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock. You have mere 5 seconds. So if you're so kind to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typical accommodating manner, can I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract the burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man, so, the game is afoot! Wow. Suddenly we're in the an investigation portion of this game. Like, of this. Huh. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, well, okay, I was just checking to see how long this part is, and it doesn't seem to be that long. It doesn't really seem to have that long according to my sources. So I think we'll try it. I'll just include this part anyway. Anyway, let's take a look. That's a speaking tube for members of the crew to communicate with one another around the ship. If I could just persuade our stuck sailor friend that he needed to use it, Trump could unlock the door whilst he was distracted. The question is, how? That's the way back to the deck, but we certainly can't give up on this now. This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. That sounds like a big mouse in trap. A big bucket of water later put out of misery. I don't like the sound of that. In any case, my dear fellow, that was quite unconvincing. Only Japanese mice make a chew sound? Oh, really, Sholmes? And pray tell, what do Russian mice make? Pee-pee, naturally. Naturally. Though, also quite unconvincing, I readily admit. So go ahead, Mikitoba, do a pee-pee this time. No, thank you. I'm sure I can come up with an alternative solution. He looks like a neo temple guardian statue. This fellow, the way he's glaring at us so fiercely. Tell me, why are you standing guard here if the cabin is unoccupied? Because this area is for first-class passengers. We must look out for suspicious criminals. He was looking straight at me when he said that. My dear fellow, as you can plainly see, we are quite unsuspicious as criminals go. But still criminals. No, for goodness sake, Sholmes, tell the man we're neither suspicious nor criminals. That's quite right, Curse! This seaman is far too able for his own good. Be extremely careful in what you say. One of us ought to be, yes. Okay, let's just press the alarm. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing would ring. The whole crew would know about it. Oops. Oh well. There goes then. Pardon me in advance. Yo, what are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be very bad problem. What's going on down there, Seaman Strong enough? Report at once. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. Just some stupid trick. No, not by me. My world famous. No, as I told you. Marshall, now! Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Eh? Well, don't stand there gulping at my brilliance. Mikitova, in we go. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm just going in. Oh boy! Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those clothes on the floor there, their sachets without question. Well, it seems we were just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here, but that burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may. Which makes all this more thrilling. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. Is he here? How it... Is something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikitoba, ice. What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy. Chilled drinks. Pardon? Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Well, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish products as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikitoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken the flavor of the food I ate, you know. There's a speaking tube here, look. Though it's stoppered with some cloth. So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed, so the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be present to prevent snakes from entering. That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? The speckled band, I swear. These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Does that not strike you? You might be right. Probably just your imagination, though, a trifle. And you know what I always say, Mikitoba? There is nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. How did these two ever get along? What the? The ball is slightly different color just here, do you see? Indeed, what you have observed arises when a frame has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well have been the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late. I think perhaps we should focus our attention elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? We have a current case. We have another case. That outline on the wall, I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Try reading material to keep the passengers occupied on long sea voyages. I found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. Whoever stuck this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of the Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, my dear fellows. I'm afraid it's just me, but no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible. I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me. You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? More are making the Bible. Oh my gosh. All the doors in this vessel have locks, I believe. A wise idea. You never know where and when criminals may strike. But of course, to the great detective Sherlock Holmes, lock, bolt, or shirt button, it makes no difference. All are unfastened with equal ease. The way you go on, you sound rather more like a great thief than a great detective. My dear Mikitova, as long as there is greatness, I am quite satisfied. Of course you are. How did these two ever get along? That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. An overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown, momohiki work trousers, a tanzan robe, a haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. And clearly, Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of a wardrobe. It seems to be as if they've been thrown in a heap like that of something in a hurry. Indeed, you could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps. I'm sure you made mention of packing too few. I'd very likely drown in one of Seishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. This is the waste paper basket. Look, and there's still rubbish inside. Indeed. Then let us pry. I've discovered recently a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope only for your work. Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London then, when I was still aboard myself. What? Yes, there was an evacuation drill, I remember now. For safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Okay. Very sizable trunk indeed. Seishiro is partial to all things large, and a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now the situation will be quite different, though? Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. That would take a while. You're still here. Able Seaman Stroganov, hello again. I'm actually gonna load. I'm curious about. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Atsugi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. You must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of the first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Sholmes? Surely you can just tell me what you said. Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Hey, well, Seaman's strong enough. Hello again. Okay. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. Eh? You were waiting for me? Of course. I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. Oh, the trouble is guilty because of the trick you played before. Poor innocent chicken. It's all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off. Now. Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done. What are you talking about? Why, naturally. The debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Chigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganov, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you? How could you... Good gracious, Sholmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it? It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning? Come on, nothing would please me more. What is this? We have minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganov, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. Oh my goodness. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. Duh, that's what I said. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. Huh? What? Yes, of course. I see you have noted it too, Mikitoba. Then please, do take the lead. And that's why... What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having it disembarked. Well, let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikitoba. Holy cow! So this is actually how they did it together before. They did, like, instead of correct, like, he actually was lost without his partner. So his friend was there to always back him up instead of needing to correct him all the time. It's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now, all the clues are here in the cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that. Oh, frick. Mikitoba, no games now were my words, were they not? Come, Sholmes. Where's the fun in life without a little fooling around? Quite right you are. That was a close shave. I better rethink that before I'm a fool here. Jikoku didn't desert 2 hours ago at all. That was a lie, wasn't it? Of course it was, and I had hoped you would be quicker to point out why. Otherwise, the evidence itself may melt away before our very eyes. Okay, that was a mistake, actually. The ice! Oh, you can't even inspect these things. You actually have to... Oh, wait.
Take that!
Yes! What?! Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious. The ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. It would appear that a man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Sholmes. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would Seishiro run from us? Before we could answer consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Bruce are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? That's right. They are. I was in the cabin next door, and Seishiro was, yes, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage, as I suspected. For you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing about this! I know nothing about this! So this is news to you, Mr. Stroganoff. Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this, Mikitoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikitoba. No, quite. Well, life is full of unexpected twists and turns as as you well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow.
Take that!
Okay, so it's the other thing. Mikitoba, no games now, with my words. You must tilt your head to one side and listen carefully to the faint cries of the seed. Hear the evidence calling out for you. Find it. Here I am, it cries. Well, your methods were never conventional, but you know I've always been willing to give them a try. Dear God, Mikitoba, open your eyes. It was a metaphorical listening. It was a metaphorical listening I was suggesting. Okay.
Take that!
There we go. It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. Duh, you were right. Wouldn't this frame move? Hardly the most observant of crew, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. Ugh. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikitoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Aha! That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see. The projectile has been removed. Clearly the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield that occupant. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern Stranger? So we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by... I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes. My dear Mikitoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle. And I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I put a wager on it. So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides. Well, I could certainly do that. I was wondering about something. I was wondering about something. That it says Sholmes from this angle, but if you look at this angle, I could be crazy, but tilt your head to the side, like I'm doing. 5, 2, 31045.
Take that!
What? What? So, a Russian crewman is aiding a Japanese man to evade capture by an English detective. Nationality needed to come into it. In this respect, at least, all humans are the same. Ask yourself what can spur a man to do the bidding of another about whom knows precious little. There's only one thing in this whole world with such repugnant bottomless power. Let's not get carried away now, Sholmes. The buttocks. Wait a minute, there's a wad of banknotes.
Take that!
It's almost too obvious for words. Quite. The universal language of the world. Money. And I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seishiro Jigoku, yes? So, I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin, and the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But I believe you know, Mr. Stroganov. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding in its precise moment in time. As always, Mikitoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something, Sholmes. I think you found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We only need to follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible. You could hardly call this a barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. We shall let your tapping toes aside, my dear fellow.
Take that!
You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Yuck! The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku is unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know the 7-digit code. The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. And short before Jigoku hid himself in that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganov. No, I know nothing about combination code. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. Huh? Now, Megatoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How much do you expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have a little time. Oh, frick! Wait a minute. Okay. I'm so glad they didn't expect me to remember that. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh man. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna have to turn my head a little bit. 5, 2, 3. $1045. Oh, it's 6 digits for each one. Oh my gosh.
Take that!
Yikes! That did it. It's open. You had the metal, didn't you? Ow. That's gotta hurt. Well, Eugen, you found me now. Seshiro. Oh. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. Who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour? I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago, now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the synopsium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So he decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it. I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. I've seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in the cabin. So you've already purchased your return ticket before we even docked at Dover, had you? Prevent anyone from taking this cabin and seeing the evidence, is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, this ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid I must insist that you would disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Seishiro. Take it. A court order? What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk. I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that? What is that, Seishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what? I have no idea. But look at his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of a brief sojourn in France. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. Oh boy. I know you wouldn't lie, but still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all the relevant testimony. There can be only one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. Relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court is yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way, and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. What on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jigoku. The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku! You found him? Ha! But the investigations of every police resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess, at the port of Dunkirk, thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes. Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Asagi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who could clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Bruce on the 31st October. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move adjudication at this point. Whoo-wee. The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. Hoo-wee. In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day, by the skin of our teeth. And there's the to be continued. Oh gosh, I'm glad I decided to keep going because I thought this was gonna extend into another trial. But we did it. There we go. All right. Next time will be the final. We'll be resuming. Well, and on that note, we're gonna call it here for at least this part of the of the stream. I'm gonna take a bit of a recess, myself. But when we come back, we'll be doing something else. So, see you then.